You're on vacation in Japan, asleep in your Airbnb, until the door explodes open.
吉島組の事務所です。
Police, screaming, you haven't done anything. You tell them that. They don't care. Your family won't hear from you for 47 days. Cases like these are not fiction. Japan has a 99.8% conviction rate. Once they decide it's you, it's you. This is the story of a man it happened to. And it could happen to you too. May 1st, 1963, a quiet suburban neighborhood in Sayama City, Saitama. The kind of place where nothing happens. 16-year-old Yoshio Nakata walks home from school. She never arrives. That night, a note appears on her family's doorstep. It reads, "Bring 200,000 yen in cash to a location near your house. Midnight, May 2nd. Come alone or she dies." The family contacts police. And here's where something strange surfaces immediately. Something the investigators either didn't notice or chose to ignore. The autopsy would later confirm that Yoshie had already been dead for hours by the time the note was delivered. The killer sent a ransom demand for a girl he had already murdered. Why? Nobody ever answered the question. What the police were focused on was the midnight exchange. They surrounded the location. Yoshie's sister, a teenager herself, was sent in with fake money. A man approached her. He spoke to her. Then he looked around and vanished. 100 officers, nowhere to run. He walked right through them. The media erupted. 1 month earlier, Tokyo police had failed an almost identical kidnapping case. Snatched, murdered, killer never caught. The head of the Metropolitan Police Department had already resigned in disgrace. Parliament was watching. Now this. The Saitama Prefectural Police were out of time, out of leads, and out of credibility. So they did what desperate institutions do. They went looking for someone to blame. Investigators turned toward a nearby Buraku neighborhood. Buraku people are Japan's hidden caste, not an ethnic minority but a social one. Descendants of feudal-era outcasts, undertakers, tanners, anyone society labeled unclean. By 1963, legal discrimination was abolished. The stigma was not. Police had stereotyped these communities as criminals for generations. They swept the area, pulled in several young men on minor charges. One of them was 24-year-old Kazuo Ishikawa, poor, largely illiterate. No idea what his rights were. They let him go. Then they came back, this time for the murder. Now here's the part of this case that should generally stop you. There was no physical evidence linking Ishikawa to Yoshie. No fingerprints, no witnesses, no DNA, nothing. The prosecution's entire case rested on one thing, the ransom note. They claimed Ishikawa wrote it. His lawyers pointed out the obvious. The man could barely read. He was largely illiterate. The prosecution's response, and this is real, was that police had taught him to write those specific kanji characters during interrogation to prove he was capable of writing them. They manufactured the evidence inside the same room where they were extracting the confession. But how did they get the confession? Ishikawa was held for 47 days in a police cell, interrogated 16 to 17 hours a day. No recording, no lawyer in the room, no time limits. The confession he signed, he didn't write a word of it. The officers composed it. He signed it. A court sentenced him to hang. Yoshie's sister, by the way, the teenager who was sent to do the exchange alone, later took her own life. The real killer was never found. Japan's criminal conviction rate is 99.8%. Sit with that. Here's what that number actually means. It doesn't mean Japanese investigators are uniquely brilliant. It means that by the time you're formally charged in Japan, the case is already over. You just haven't been told yet. Prosecutors here only addict the cases they are certain they'll win, which sounds careful, responsible even. But the question nobody asks is, how do they get certain? The answer is daimyo kangoku, substitute prison. When you are arrested in Japan, you don't go to an independent detention center. You go to a cell inside the police station, run by the same officers investigating you, for up to 23 days per charge, and charges can be stacked. No cameras in the interrogation room, no lawyer present, no limit on how long a session runs. Human Rights Watch documented what happened inside: sleep deprivation, denial of food, denial of bathroom access, psychological pressure applied in rotating shifts until the person across the table breaks. And in Japan, a confession is the king of evidence. Such weight is above almost everything else, above physical evidence, above contradicting testimony, above logic. Get a confession, win the trial. That's the pipeline. The UN told Japan to shut down the system in 2018. Japan is still running it. Ishikawa filed 3 separate retrial applications across 6 decades. Every single one was denied. He died on March 11, 2025, age 85. Still a convicted murderer in the eyes of Japanese law. His wife filed a 4th appeal the week he died. Kazuo Ishikawa is not a ghost from another era. Awao Hakamada was a professional boxer. In 1966, he was convicted of murdering his employer and the man's family, largely on the basis of a confession he later said was beaten out of him. He was sentenced to death. He spent 46 years on death row, the longest in recorded human history. When he was finally acquitted in 2024, he was in his late 80s. His lawyers described him as someone who had mentally never come back. Decades of solitary confinement had taken whatever was left. Then there's Carlos Ghosn, the CEO of Nissan, arrested in 2018, held without charge, detained for months despite being one of the most high-profile businessmen on earth, with elite legal teams and international media coverage. He eventually fled the country, hidden in a box on a private jet. He said publicly he had no faith he would receive a fair trial. Now imagine you are not a billionaire CEO. Imagine you are a backpacker. If Japanese police suspect you of anything, they can hold you for 23 days without filing a formal charges. Your lawyer cannot be in the interrogation room. If you don't speak Japanese, a translator may or may not be provided. Your embassy will be notified eventually. You will be alone in that room, and the machine will be looking for a confession. 3 things would actually fix this. Mandatory full recording of every interrogation from start to finish. A lawyer present in the room from the moment questioning begins. And a retrial process that doesn't demand near impossible standards of new proof. None of this is radical. Most countries already have it. But Japan's substitute prison system has been running since 1908, when it was invented to solve a shortage of actual prison cells. It was supposed to be temporary. That was 117 years ago. Kazuo Ishikawa woke up on a morning in 1963 as a 24-year-old. He walked into a machine that had already decided what he was. It took everything from him, and when he died, the machine had still never admitted it was wrong. So when the police found the body of the girl, at the same time they also found a guy, and they tested this guy for his blood, and the blood type matched exactly the killer's blood type. But they let this guy go because they said he has erectile dysfunction. So because he has erectile dysfunction, he was not able to rape the girl. That's their reasoning. So what do you guys think? So I think in my script there's several things unclear, so I'm gonna use this segment to make them a bit more clear. So first of all, Ishikawa was never executed. And the reason why he never was executed is because he and his wife obviously disputed the decision the police made several times. So eventually they reduced his sentence from death to just life in prison, which is still pretty bad. Here I have a crazy theory. What if the real killer never actually made the ransom note? What if some random guy, maybe the guy with the erectile dysfunction, killed and raped the girl and then just left? Ishikawa, which was a very poor guy, coming from a class of people which were discriminated in Japan, just saw this as an opportunity to make some quick money. So he actually wrote the ransom note and put it there, not because he was really the killer, but because he thought it was an easy way to make money. But because Japan has a 99% conviction rate, the Japanese police would never think this far or come to a conclusion like this, because once they think it is you, it is you. But that was basically today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and support me on Patreon. Bye.